Roth conversion, one of our favorite tax planning strategies when it fits. What are the 3 major misconceptions with Roth conversions? I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. The Roth conversion, I'm recording this near the end of the year. Maybe you're watching it then as well. Roth conversion is absolutely a strategy that you've got to consider each year. And maybe most years, for most of you, you say, yeah, it doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. But for the years where it does, something to jump on and can make an enormous difference. Just really quick, the approach, the idea with the Roth conversion is you've got dollars that you've already contributed pre-tax, whether that's pre-tax in your 401k or pre-tax in an IRA or pre-tax in a 401k that you then rolled over to an IRA. So you've got pre-tax dollars, okay? And you're thinking, you know what? I'd rather these dollars be positioned in my Roth IRA or Roth 401k so that they will grow from this point forward tax-free. And I can pull them out, pull the growth out tax-free out there in the future. And so when you do this maneuver of transferring pre-tax dollars from your IRA or 401k into the Roth IRA or Roth 401k, that's a taxable event. So you're basically making the decision or doing an evaluation each year to say, well, should I pay some tax on some dollars? Should I include some income on my tax return at these rates? Pay some tax so that these dollars are positioned to grow tax-free forever. And that can make sense in a lot of scenarios. There are some gotchas, and we've done lots of videos on those. And this is why I say this is one of the quintessential illustrations or real-life examples why you need a comprehensive financial approach to your financial life. There's 6 areas to your financial life. Present financial position, this is going to impact cash flow. Protection planning, this could help make you self-insured. That one's a little bit of a stretch. Tax planning squarely. What's your tax situation today? What's your tax bracket today? What's your expected tax bracket and tax situation out there in the future? That's how you help decipher, or determine, should I do a Roth conversion this year and voluntarily include some income on my return, pay some tax? Does that make sense? It's tax planning. Investment planning, for sure. How are these dollars invested now? When you do the Roth conversion, how are the dollars going to be invested? Absolutely. Retirement planning, no doubt about it. This is positioning you in a spot where you can have more dollars growing tax-free and withdrawn tax-free out there in retirement. And then estate planning, absolutely. These dollars, the Roth dollars, are inherited by your heirs, and they don't have to pay tax on it versus pre-tax, they would. So very squarely, this decision hits 5 out of the 6 areas of your financial life. So that's the Roth conversion. Now we're going to jump in the deep end here. And saw this article a while back, but it's interesting, and it's what are some common misconceptions, 3 misconceptions about doing Roth conversions. Now it's written for financial advisors serving clients, but you can handle it. You get the gist. Let's get into these misconceptions, talk through them so that you're on a better understanding. First misconception is that you shouldn't do a Roth conversion unless you have cash outside of that to pay the taxes. That is a misconception. It's important, and gosh, if you do, it's extremely helpful because you do have to answer the question, well, when I do a Roth conversion, this money is going to land on my tax return. How am I going to pay the tax? And one of the traps, one of the risks is if you're not yet 59 and a half, you do this Roth conversion, you say, yeah, I don't have the money to pay the taxes. I'm going to withhold the tax on this Roth conversion. So you do a Roth conversion of 10 grand, but you withhold 3 for taxes. Well, only 7 lands in your Roth IRA. That 3 went towards tax withholdings. And because you're not yet age 59 and a half, that 3,000 also has a 10% tax penalty because it came out of your IRA, it came out of retirement accounts, and you weren't yet 59 and a half. So that's where you've heard me say, you've heard other financial advisors say, you might think this yourself, well, I shouldn't do a Roth conversion unless I've got the cash to pay the taxes. That's not always true. That's not always true. One is, I might have a big refund. And I'll do enough Roth conversion just to eat enough into my refund, and basically I'll use my refund to pay the taxes on my conversion. That could make sense. Maybe you've got new tax credits coming online. Maybe you've got some other tax deductions that are new to you this year, and you're going to use a Roth conversion to kind of neutralize and balance it out. And then yes, in rare instances, guys, but gosh, please do so with your eyes open and full calculations. You could run the math to say, I'm doing the Roth conversion, I'm going to withhold the tax, and I'm going to pay the penalty, and I'm still better off doing it. Now, that is not a universal, yes, it applies to everyone. Absolutely not. It's very clear there's no one-size-fits-all approach to your finances, certainly any one tax strategy like a Roth conversion. You might want to consider that, though. Work with your certified financial planner. I would agree this is a misconception. Even though the name of the game with Roth conversions, let's get as much money in the Roth as possible. So therefore, it really helps if you've got cash to pay the taxes. Not always necessary. Work with your CFP. Second misconception is if you're in a high tax bracket, this says the highest tax bracket. I would say if you're in a high tax bracket, then you shouldn't do a Roth conversion. Also a misconception. Did a video a while back about, really what it comes down to, and then I'll come back to that. What it comes down to is, what tax bracket are you in today? Do you think you'll be in the same or higher or lower tax bracket out there in the future? But then I'd also say, are there going to be potentially new taxes out there in the future? And so did a video a while back about, I was working with some of our financial planners, and we're working on a case, and we're talking with this client about doing a really big Roth conversion and over a couple of years. But as I did our multi-year tax projection, kind of forecasting out in the future and looking at our retirement plan, it was, well, he'd be doing Roth conversions in the 24% tax bracket. Pretty sure he's going to be in the 24% tax bracket out there in the future. So should we really do it right now, even if we think he's still be in that same tax bracket out there in the future? And the answer was yes, because what if he or his spouse dies and now all of a sudden now someone is in a higher tax bracket because they're an individual? What if they both die and the kids inherit the money and this puts them in a very high tax bracket? What if, and I already mentioned this, there are new taxes? And that's not like a what if. That's a certainty. Go back 30 years and see what the taxes were and see if we have new ones today. Irma, for example, was created within the last 30 years, and that's a big one. So yeah, just because you're in a high tax bracket today doesn't mean you shouldn't do a Roth conversion. Doesn't mean you should either, but you've got to look at your own situation, do that multi-year tax planning and tax projection to see what makes the most sense for your situation. And then finally, final misconception I completely agree with as well, and it's sort of the opposite of each of the others. Just because you're in a low tax bracket, and just because you would have the cash to pay the taxes, that doesn't mean you automatically should do a Roth conversion. I completely agree with that as well. Again, you've got to look at your own situation. It's very possible that you are in a position where you say, well, I'm in the 22% tax bracket right now. Yeah, I could do a Roth conversion, pay more tax in the 22% bracket, and I've got the cash to do it. But you do that multi-year tax projection, and you forecast out and say, we're probably in the 12% tax bracket. I think, with Social Security and we've got a lot of cash that we're going to spend down as opposed to other dollars, and even our RMD, I think we're going to be in a pretty low tax bracket. And yes, there's the risk of one of us passing away, or maybe you already are single or whatnot, and you could look and say, I don't know if it necessarily makes sense. So once again, you've got to look at where are you today, what's expected in your situation out there in the future. There are times when you'd say, nah, everything's the same, let's still do a Roth conversion. And there's other times when you'd say, I think there's a pretty good chance you're going to be a lower tax situation out there in the future. Let's not do a Roth conversion, even though you could and have the cash. So what's the takeaway with these misconceptions? Well, hopefully, if any of them challenged your thinking or helped and applied in your situation, you found it useful. But the other is that you've got to look at all 6 areas of your financial life to determine whether a Roth conversion makes sense for your unique financial situation. And I mean that. your financial situation is unique. No matter, even if you're comparing it to someone that is your neighbor and you think, yeah, I mean, we're pretty similar, or someone in the cubicle next to you, yeah, I mean, we probably make similar amounts. Someone that you grew up with, a sibling, yeah, I mean, we were raised in the same house. I'm assuming financially we're pretty similar. Guys, you have no idea how different financially your choices and your situation it is. And therefore, every single year, you have to take a look and say, well, should I do a Roth conversion or not? Does it make sense this time or not? And I would encourage you to be working with a certified financial planner who's able to, who's run the miles, has worked with thousands of financial lives, and can help you kind of objectively take a look and say, well, does it make sense this year or not? Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.